how does a man from the Midlands in the UK become a WWE superstar? Because, well, I know that when you first started in wrestling, that pathway it was a difficult pathway to get there, but you've done it. How does someone who looks up to you achieve the same as what you've done?
I think, yeah, it's a good point. I mean, when I first got into
Big
wrestling,
question.
when
Yeah.
I first got into wrestling, it felt like a match was good. Was a big ask back then just to have a professional wrestling match. Obviously, the great thing at the moment is, as you mentioned, so many more doors have opened. Look, being a part of the NXT UK brand, who would have thought that would have been a thing maybe 10, 12 years ago? The opportunity, I've said to a lot of people, a lot of men and women, the opportunities are there, but just like in anything, you've got to be the what. You can't expect to sit around and expect the phone to ring and stuff like that. You've got to go out, you've got to chase it, you've got to make things happen. You've obviously, like any profession, you've got to learn from the ground. You've got to get your fundamentals, you've got to learn your craft, you've got to be humble, you've got to be respectful, and you've got to get out there and you've got to hustle in a positive way. Being involved in shows, watching matches, studying tape, learning the history of our industry. And sometimes you have to remember that some people, you may put X amount of time into this, and then you may see somebody else who gets a chance or an opportunity who's only been doing this for a handful of the time. You can't be worried about what other people have done or be upset about an opportunity that you miss up on, because I've always, it might be cliche, but the time you spend worrying about somebody else and what they're doing is time wasted on energy, and positive energy you can be putting into yourself. So it's one of those things. It can be right place, right time, or it can just be, a multitude of things. You just got to be ready for when an opportunity comes in front of you, and don't an opportunity. It doesn't just mean wrestling in WWE. Every opportunity you're given is an opportunity. You've got to try and make the most of it. And you're going to fall, you're going to make mistakes, but it's learning from those mistakes. So it's obviously, it's a broad question, but you've also got to believe in yourself, but you've also got to be aware that it can be a very long road. But if you're willing to stay on the path, then anything can happen. I always say to people, never put a glass ceiling to anything you want to do, whether that's in wrestling or whatever whatever you want to accomplish. Because the minute you glass ceiling yourself, you're already telling yourself, okay, that's my stopping point. Who knows what might happen, and I think that's a major factor. I think I got to a point where I was like, I want to get somewhere. I'm not going to tell myself that I can't. People around me may tell me I can't, but that's their prerogative. I need to invest in myself and do the best I can do.
That's what I really wanted you to say, because there's such a sport is a great metaphor for life. So even there's people watching this that want to be an artist or want to be an estate agent or anything. That's that attitude. And you mentioned Michael Jordan, who's the perfect example of it. That attitude's the only way to make success, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I'd like to say all this stuff that we're talking about. I think it'd be the same if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or a fireman or a policeman. It's all relative.